Kurt with My Win Stuff. Kendra's on the camera this morning. We're going to do a complete setup from start to finish. This takes about 30 minutes usually. I typically do that by myself in the morning while Kendra's in there getting beautiful. And then we'll do another video later with the complete teardown. We're going to do some videos of the inside of the trailer. We're going to do some pitches. We're going to get you guys as orientated with the product and the production as we can to make everybody successful. So this is the trailer as we travel. So you can see all the product is on the racks. Balloons are hanging from the ceiling. And so what we're going to commence to doing now is we're going to start bringing out the racks and setting up in a display. We do use about 3 or 4 different display layouts, and I'll give some reasons why we do different layouts. And so here we go. This will be rack 1. All of these racks are stair-stepped together to keep them from moving in the trailer. I've got a bad back, so I use my feet a lot. There's 14 racks currently on this display. Once I get a little extra room in here, I start pulling out 2 racks at a time, which saves me a couple of trips in and out of the trailer. Don't panic if your twisters and spinners get a little tangled up. For example, like this. In the trailer you can see the wheel, the monkey's caught on the zombie. This product's pretty tough. It will take a lot of abuse. Obviously you don't want to break it. But sometimes they do get snagged when we're bringing the racks in and out. Just a few more racks to go. You'll notice some of these have been moved, and this is from the load up. When Kendra sees something she thinks she needs to move because it might catch on something or is getting smushed, she moves it. So I just moved it back in the morning. I know this is repetitive and it's probably a little boring to watch, but people don't believe us when we tell them we can set this whole show up in 30 minutes, tear it down in 15 minutes to 10 minutes at night. So this way it's all live. This won't be edited. So these poles and banners up here ride on these racks. I do use a piece of yarn to find one here to wrap these on like this for travel. Keeps them from sliding off. And twisted those this morning. If you've never had a Premier wind generator, there's a spindle there to attach this hub to. I've already got the third section of this pole attached securely to the trailer, so I don't have to put that up every morning. Like that. Okay, all of our balloons and twin spinners and twister tails hang from these cables. We've got 3 rows of them on the ceiling, and when we're doing a hot air balloon festival or whatnot, a couple of these rows are completely full of balloons. So we just got an order in, so today we'll be putting together more product. So there'll be a lot more balloons, a lot more spinners on display, and I'll show you how we put some of that stuff together. Alright, we use our awnings to hang these off of. You can see these little clips. You can get these at Walmart or any RV store. They slide in the track. We just use a little bit of tape to keep them exactly spaced apart so they don't slide when the wind blows. I always face the hooks. These are shower curtain hooks. I face them inward so they don't rub on the awning during the day. And then when we're stocked, all these hooks will have balloons on them. Premier twin spinners, some Premier glass. Again, all the hooks go inwards. When we're doing a big show, we've got a rope that we use that has additional attachment points that will run from the awning here to the top of the trailer, so we can really put out a lot of balloons. We've got several different weights we use for our racks if it's really windy. These are just tube socks filled with gravel. We've also got some nice bricks we've covered in socks that look a little better. Alright, this is a Premier tube tail and a 29-foot windsock pole. You have to have one of these on your display, alright? There's nothing else like it in town to draw attention with. This makes people look. Okay? We've extended the tube tails on. I suggest you get a handful of these. Gear Tie make these. There's a couple other companies. They're foam with a wire in them. They're non-marking. We've had some of these for a few years. We've used them over and over and over again. Again, our socks with our gravel. That'll keep the bottom of the pole from moving. Couple of 3.5-foot Premier banners. And I I've got some 8.5 foot banners here to go on our banner rack. When you slide these on the poles, if you drop them, it'll make the pole collapse. A little shock up the pole will make it come down. So just gently set them down, and you won't have to come out and fix them later. And I'll show you in one of our videos how the telescopic poles work. These are sleeves that we have made for us. They slide over our windsock poles. We've put grommets in them so we can put multiple items on it. We got garden charm or swinging charms on here, some kite tails, some flags, windsocks. Usually most of these holes are full. We had a pretty good weekend, so we'll be restocking these later. Again, we use these for everything. These awning arms are great for attaching things to. You can adjust the angle of your windsock pole out there by raising your awning up or down, so you get more height out of it. And 2 gear ties, and that'll last all day. You can also use these grommets to hang balloons from, which we do on occasion. As you should know, Premier's been manufacturing kites for 37 years. You absolutely have to have a kite on display if you're going to stock kites in your inventory. And in another video, I'll explain why. So, that's a 10-foot windsock pole with a 32-inch French delta on it. It will fly all day long. So when people say, well, how hard's your kites to fly? I say, well, that pole flies one. This is a 16-foot feather banner by Premier. We'll hold that. Okay, one thing I want to point out, when you put these banners in the ground, put them in at a little bit of an angle. Okay, if you're a brick and mortar store and this is going to be out all the time, you know exactly what direction you want to point it. For us, Our locations change all the time, so sometimes we're leaning it that way or this way. This is a metal ground mount. If you slide your windsock pole over the top of that, this top will eat up that pole from the inside. Okay, it'll break your pole. So I take a piece of PVC plastic pipe and I slide it over the top of that, and it's a little longer than the metal. The reason we put that in at an angle, if you make it straight up and down and the wind's not blowing, your flag will hang straight down. If you put it in at an angle and the wind's not blowing, your banner is still open so people can read it. Real important, especially if it's an open banner. This is on a 16-foot pole, by the way. It's our good buddy Jack. The honking you might have heard in the background is one of our kite customers. They run a campground down here and they come and buy kites from us. Again, we're using our gear tie twist. 14-foot telescopic garden flag, house flag pole. It's got crimp connectors, compression fittings here, so you can adjust the height whatever you need. I got 2 more pieces to put out, and then that is a complete display setup. And then I'll come back with the next video and I'll show you how we get the trailer ready for sales today, from the computers to the power to the trailer, the tables. I want to show you packaging. It's very important to keep your bags, because when the customer buys your last tie-dye balloon, you want to be able to put it right back in the exact package it came from. It may be a gift for somebody, and you want it to be pristine with all of its parts and pieces. So this is a Premier Soft open banner. These are excellent. If you haven't got any Premier Soft product yet, you got to check it out. It's legible on both sides, where most flags are backwards. You hold it to the sun, you can't see through it, so the pattern doesn't telegraph through. And these are buttery soft. You got to have them. All right. This is a window cling mount. It's got suction cups on and a little stick. So if you want to put it to the side of your trailer, you can do that. And it's also a good way to sell these as an add-on. A lot of people hang these in the inside of their house windows or their commercial business windows. In this instance, we're putting it on the side of the RV. Okay. Another Premier banner. This one is not Premier Soft, but it is legible on both sides. I call it a 3D because these textures are filled with material, so they're puffy. Couple of clips, and for the most part, that's it.